Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop. Today, a treat especial. This one's for the ladies. Gets to be this time of year around my parts, and no doubt your parts. Bit of a stiff breeze blowing through the igloo. Nobody can blame anybody for letting the old trimming of the verge slide. Who amongst us has never oversped a wire wheel on a pedestal grinder in a wife beater? You get what I'm saying. Here before us is a subtle hint that is sure to delight your better 3/4 Christmas stocking. That's right, a heavy-duty Makita 18-volt verge trimmer. Contact! I got a clamping issue. The G's the tool salesman told me this was a boring head, but we're gonna might need to cut the jib at a different tack. Arr, have you ever been to sea, Billy?
No, Captain, but I've been blown ashore.
Time! What are we in for here? She got some sort of mouth guard on her. A foosball front ender. Bare tool. No batteries. That's about enough of that. Yeah. Looks like she ought to do the trick. What form of new devilry is this? I don't know what the F this is, yo. Some sort of Murga mandated anti-liability, anti-litigation guard. Fuck. Smell you later. Okay, here we got the brains of the operation. I got the guard plate here. That would just be punched and pressed into shape out of a roll of steel. And then some nice molybdenum disulfide pasty grease there. High moly content. Of course, that's a mineral molybdenum disulfide. Comes out right out of the ground like that, and it's a lot like graphite. It's little platelets, but it also impregnates any interstices in the grain structure, and well, it's a lubricating action. Here we have some sort of stainless or tool steel blades. They're all ground. This is expensive. All this is ground. You can see. Have a look at the, yeah. It's all ground this way and on the flat. That is not a cheap part to make. In case it gets too breezy, we got ourselves a little windscreen. This is ABS plastic. I would have thought it'd be polycarbonate, but it's Z1-2. Of course, the external safety squints are Z87, so, and they're normally polycarbonate, so totally different. Oh, and the guts came out of her. That's not good. So here we have the Concentric Assembly. Oh yeah, so this just spinema things on a couple of pins. So that has to spin. Well, no bearings at all in there. They're relying on the lubricity of the molybdenum disulfide grease. This would be likely your part that wears out soonest. Well, after, of course, you'd have to sharpen this on a regular. But you would want to definitely grease that quite often. And we'll just see how hard these parts are. Yeah. Stiff as a wedding prick they are. Too much. Yeah, soft. Whiskey dick soft. Okay, so you're not going to wear these parts out. You're going to wear out your knives first. So that makes sense, because then you don't have two wearing items. You have the blades that are replaceable that you'll have to replace, because it'll waller out this hole right here. Now let us not dredge up the white couch incident of '03. The molybdenum disulfide gets everywhere like shit on a blanket. You will track this all through your house, and it does not go away. Now, just having a nice hand feel here. This does not feel like the typical Makita tool. It doesn't feel like a nylon with the glass filling. Yeah, oh look at that, ABS. That is why it doesn't feel like a proper Makita tool, because it's their secondary line. Recall, ABS is what cheaper tools use because, surprise, it's cheaper. And the overmolding, some sort of butylene, yeah, there we go, TPE. So that's an elastomer, and it's thermoplastic. No, that's a thermoplastic. That means it's got a lot more elastic properties than a thermoset, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody will correct me on that, but pretty much bog standard. And it doesn't have the styrene on either end, so it's not very resistant at all to any kind of solvent or any kind of abrasion. But this is going to be in your wife's boudoir, so if you got abrasion problems, I'm sorry, but you married a lady Sam Squanch. Well, if I hadn't lost the fastener, I would go through the trouble of keeping this around. What for style's sake? I mean, the guys that brought you horrific teal also ensured that the windscreen was tinted. It's the little things, am I right? Wow, that's bad. Alright, we're in like sin. Look at this. You can totally tell that there is no glass ball or glass fiber reinforcing in here. Look at the details on here. You just wear the fuck right out of that mold. You couldn't feasibly make this part, I don't think, out of, with glass reinforcing, because it would just wear the mold right out. Look at all this. The details, man. Holy oh fuck. I thought the fine had some fine details. This is just out of control. Look at this. Nice and stiff though, even for ABS. Oh, now we get into some dirty deeds done dirt cheap. We got a little Omron Microswitch, and there's no speed control. It's on or off. Got a little Chinese brushed DC permanent magnet motor, and something to control the battery, which is completely potted. AMC part number. So this is a subcontractor. They just whopped this in here. We'll have a look at that number. But here, yeah, here we see the dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Check it out. There's no bearings whatsoever. Nylon gear. Nice thick cogs on there. And we got a helical, not a herringbone that's equalized, but just a helical gear set. So there's axial thrust. This is going to want to force this way against here, and this guy will want to force up that way. There's no thrust bearings on there to speak of. Just this right against the case. Oh yeah. This is a home gamer tool. I would be surprised if this lasted any amount of time. No bearings. The bearings are steel shaft on ABS plastic, about a 1/16 of an inch either side. Yeah, very, very cracktacular. Yeah, this is not made for steady use. Look at this. This bull gear rides right on the ABS. The outer bearing is this ABS, thin-walled ABS, 1/16 of an inch maybe. Any kind of shmoo in there at all, any kind of dust or anything, abrasive dust, just gonna wear the living fuck right out of that. And then worse still, any kind of play in here. Let's see how it turn when we turn this. Yeah, okay, well the shaft should not spin. So the bearing surface is actually these gears. So eventually these gears, the center shaft will wear the gear and it'll waller it out, and then what'll happen is the alignment will get thrown off and eventually you'll hit a bad spot and it won't chooch anymore. That's what's going on. You'll need to replace this gear because the center shaft is all wallered out. And don't neglect the fact that just because this is plastic, it won't wear that steel shaft. If you get any kind of abrasive particle in there, the abrasive particle will embed in the soft nylon and then completely wear the living fuck out of that shaft. Yeah, it's interesting just having a look at the inside. We can tell from the outside that it's not going to be a very skookum tool. The outside ABS plastic, you can feel it right in your hand. You can feel it. Not that skookum. Then we open up the inwards. Apologize, I misspoke. Not even remotely skookum. This is what you'd expect out of a power fister or a hazard fraught, you know, $5 type deal. I think this was 90, something like 90 Canadian kopecks at the old Amazon Camel Swap Meet Bazaar. Or was it Camel Meat Swap Bazaar? Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. Okay, no surprise on the brain box. There's nothing on the confuser. Ditto for the motor. Ditto means the same. So we got 18 volts positive neg and the thermostatic detector in the motor that goes into the controller. The positive is broken here at the switch, feeds into the controller, and then the red and the black go and turn on the motor. It's just off or on. There's no speed control. We have a little LED here blinking at you. I don't know what for, but you know, has to have an LED. It's got a confuser in it, am I right? So no real reason for it to have a microcontroller in here, a little potted circuit board, other than the fact that it's a lithium-ion battery. And because of the finicky nature of it, if it draws too many pixies, it gets hot or whatever, we need protection so it doesn't burn your house down or burn up in your hand, of course, because you'd never feel it if it started getting hot. I mean, I for one feel a lot safer that Nanny Mary Poppins is looking after us. Now, speaking of which, this is actually, I was going to take it out, but it ain't teabag. This is the detent so that, you call that an interlock, so that you have to actuate it either way, side by each, and then you can pull the trigger. Now, of course, this switch is directly actuated by the trigger, and it's not that skookum a switch. It's a little Omron Microswitch. You can feel the detent isn't that heavy. So, first thing that's going to crap out on you, of course, is this. If that's not the problem, when it does crap out on you, check the battery leads. And last but not least, of course, the electronicals might have let the smoke out, which you would never know on account of it being potted. This is more of a tool that you'd see a coupon for half off that you'd pick up at the Hazard Fraud or the Princess Auto Power Fister. You know, the kind of tool that nobody ever pays full price for. Oh, you tell me, is this 120 bucks worth? We'll get her back together anyway and give her a test out. Now, it being a Christmas present, of course, I can't very well test it proper, but we'll go outside in the frozen tundra and see how she chooches. Okay, we'll just do a dry run here. Oh yeah, trigger lock, of course. Oh, so tempted. It's like when you have a strobe on a fan. You know the fucking thing is spinning a thing, but you can't help but wonder what would happen if you stuck your finger in there. Whatever happens, it ain't gonna be pretty. I'm glad I made the decision to keep that trigger lock off Orn. Winter is upon us. High noon here in the Republic of Kazakhstan. Let's have a look, well. Oh yeah. There's the cock for Dolly. Thanks for watching. Have you a dick in a vice? It's a Christmas miracle. Reindeer nuggets. Dun-it. Hey buddy. How about a test? Thrice bitten, twice shy.
You're not stealing that one to trim your back hair.
Oh!
Merry Christmas!